And you're listening to a WPRB exclusive. You can find out more about this interview, our shows, our reporting at www.wprb.com/news. I'm joined now by Peter Feldman, who's the Regional Communications Director for the McCain campaign in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, Sebastian. Thank you.
So we're just about a week out at this point, and from where you're standing, I'm curious how the race looks, particularly in Pennsylvania, but in New Jersey and New York as well.
Well, to start first on Pennsylvania, I think the race here looks promising. I think that given the amount of travel that we've had from Senator McCain and Governor Palin in the last week, and then looking ahead to the coming week, it's done a lot to energize our base, and we still have a number of uncommitted voters that I think are taking a much closer look, especially as we get into these last couple of days. And the McCain pick is one that is quite appealing, and we are certainly moving forward on that front.
When you look at the public polls, it looks like it's a bit of an uphill climb. And how critical would you say Pennsylvania is to putting McCain in the White House? Is this like the central front here in terms of battleground states, or is it a little bit back in terms of how competitive it is?
Well, but is clearly a state that the McCain campaign is fighting very hard for. But in terms of overall electoral strategy, when you look at the map, Pennsylvania has 21 electoral votes, and carrying this state is really going to go a long way in terms of putting the McCain-Palin ticket over the top and providing the margin that is going to carry them past that race for 270.
Let's talk a little bit of ground game here. What are you guys doing to turn out your voters? Are you concentrating on any particular techniques, canvassing, phone banking, robocalls, TV ads, what have you? And are you focusing on any particular geographic areas in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, or is it, you're really just going all out, all over both of those states?
Well, I'm not going to get into where we're targeting within the state. We are fighting for every vote in Pennsylvania, and especially in these last couple of days of the campaign. A lot of the heavy lifting that needs to be done is falling on the shoulders of our volunteers. We've got the best volunteers in the country. I would say here in Pennsylvania, others might argue that volunteers in their state might be strong competitors for that title as well. But that said, we are aggressively hitting the phones. We are doing door knocking. We're canvassing. Right now we are in the final pushes of getting people to try to submit their absentee ballots that they've already requested. So there's a lot that we're doing, and there's still a lot of work to be done. And we are getting it done in the Keystone State, moving into November 4th next Tuesday.
All right, fair enough. And clearly there are a lot of issues out there in this election. I think a lot of issues on the minds of Americans. But I'm curious if you could maybe point out what you think are maybe the one or two biggest issues, particularly in Pennsylvania, but also maybe in New Jersey, as we enter the home stretch here.
Well, I think in both of those states, as well as nationally, the economy is clearly still front and center. The issue that people are caring about. And I think a week ago we had a surprising moment of candor from Barack Obama when he was in Toledo, Ohio, talking with Joe the plumber, who's now become a fixture in this campaign, where he said that his plans for the economy include redistributing wealth. I think tax issues, particularly as they pertain to middle-class families and small business owners, are far and away the most important focus in these final couple days. We've suspected for a long time that Barack Obama is a tax raiser. Of course, as a United States senator, he's voted to raise taxes on Americans making as little as $42,000 a year, and the admission that he made was, of course, no surprise, but it was probably the clearest enunciation thus far of what specifically he plans to do, and that's not sitting well with many voters in the Keystone State and in New Jersey as well. So, particularly in New Jersey under the Corzine administration, where you have already a pretty serious tax burden that's being levied on Garden State voters. Is something that really hits close to home, and of course in the pocketbooks.
Two more questions here. First off, the conventional wisdom, at least this election, but generally, is that the youth vote is sort of predisposed towards the Democrats, and this time around,
I wouldn't concede that.
You wouldn't concede? All right. But I mean, at this time around, at least the conventional wisdom is that, the youth vote is going to turn out big for Obama. Now, we've reported that at least here on Princeton's campus, you guys have some pretty passionate backers too. We've got listeners both here in Princeton, but also in City Center, Philadelphia, who are college students. And I'm wondering if you could maybe sum up in a couple of words what you think is most appealing about McCain to a college-age voter, what they should be considering.
Well, Princeton kids are smart, and I think you're seeing on your campus that there are a lot of supporters that are voting for their future after graduating college. It's important that we have a sound economy that is creating jobs and growing. Under Barack Obama's plan for the economy, which includes, which I think fundamentally looks at the state of the economy as a fixed pie to be divided up. We are more focused on growing and creating more wealth, creating more jobs, creating more opportunity, and I think that really is the fundamental difference. That's directly a vote that has a real tangible impact, particularly for undergrad students who will be entering the job market within as short a span as the next 4 years. I really do see that as critical.
All right, and finally, and I've got to ask you a question about this because, as I'm sure you're aware, it's the biggest campaign story in the last couple days with this incident out in Pittsburgh with this girl who faked this assault, and there have been some conflicting reports, and I want to give you a chance here to really set the record straight. These reports coming out of two TV stations saying that the McCain campaign might have been pushing this narrative about, the B standing for Barack before the police came out with that. Is that true, or is that just patently false?
No, that's just not true, and completely incorrect. The bottom line here is that it was an unfortunate incident, and we certainly hope that this young lady gets the help that she needs.
All right. Well, Peter, thanks for joining us. We'll all be watching as the election approaches, and thanks for taking that time out of your busy schedule to answer some questions.
Sebastian, thank you.
And you've listened to an exclusive from WPRB News in Princeton, New Jersey. You can also hear more of our election reporting, including an exclusive report on robocalls in Pennsylvania and an interview with the New York Times' Frank Rich this Thursday at 5 p.m., 1033 on your dial if you live in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or you can visit our website and listen to a live streaming edition. Our website again, www.wprb.com/news.